As I'm currently packing up and getting ready for another road trip, it seemed like a appropriate time for me to do a review about one of the biggest duds of a product that I purchased for my last trip up to Raleigh at the beginning of the year, which are these WHITIN trail runners. Now, unlike most of the product reviews that I do, these shoes have a ton of reviews on YouTube. And usually it's not my move to add to the pile. But when my experience and most other people's experiences were so drastically different, it seemed like I should put in my 2 cents. First off, the plastic part where the laces go on dug into the top of my foot, not just in an uncomfortable way, but really in a painful way after I wore them for probably 20 minutes. Now, there are some versions that you can get that do not have this plastic part. It's all smooth. It's on the same listing on Amazon, but if you select the different options, you'll see it'll change from having this to not having it. So the first thing I would do is, if for whatever reason your heart is set on getting these in some form or fashion, don't get the ones that have the chunky plastic. There's ones with much thinner options. That was my first gripe, but not my only one. The second part is, I don't believe that I have particularly large ankles. I don't have any. I mean, I have an ankle issue, but it doesn't cause any noticeable swelling, and my other ankle is fine. I've never had shoes that are taller, which I've worn a lot of mid and high tops over the years. They've never felt tight or odd or anything. I actually measured myself for an Achilles little wrap brace today, and I ended up in a size small. So that should probably tell you something. And the ankle part of these shoes was so constricting, it was like just cutting a line through my ankle. And I actually got so frustrated, I took a pair of scissors and I chopped the ankle part open probably 2 inches, and they're still tight and they're still uncomfortable. But at a certain point I just gave up. I was like, yeah, this isn't, what am I gonna do? Cut it down to the toes? So the ankle's insanely tight. The laces part, the laces weren't tight. It's not like I'm cinching these things down to jam that into my foot. So already 2 points that are just hurting and uncomfortable and just unnecessarily so. And then I got these because I was going to walk on some nature trails, and I knew that I needed a little extra grip, especially it was raining up there some. And the sole of them is actually somewhat reminiscent of, I believe, of another brand. Slipping my mind right now, but reminiscent maybe, but probably not dead on, because these things were super slippery for me. I put my foot down on a root and it slid right away. I didn't feel much confidence in these at all. In fact, I actually put my Zero Prios on, which are not designed for off-road very much. I'm sure they would say they're all-terrain, but realistically they have models that are designed specifically for trails and off-road activities. But the Prios that I have, which has a pretty tight tread pattern, were noticeably safer and more secure on wet ground and on off-road surfaces in general than these, which seems crazy because the grooves are deep and it looks like it would work. I guess part of the problem is up front there's a lot going on, but towards the front too there's some pretty chunky areas. Maybe that's not giving enough grip. Maybe the grip looks better. I mean, even though it looks better down here, I think this is where I caught a root and I slipped like crazy. So I don't really know what the problem is and why other shoes that have similar designs to this on the sole are praised and these were terrible for me. Maybe I hate the other ones too. I don't know. I know these aren't water shoes, though they are manufactured by the same brand that makes my water shoes and have a similar look and similar marketing. But I was really surprised on just how heavy these things got when I got a little bit of water in them on some rather saturated trails. Of course, you may say, well, that doesn't matter, that doesn't count. That's not what they're made for. And maybe you're right. But I just want to point it out, if you're walking on a wet environment and it starts to soak some water in, because the top part here is, very thin and water will get in easily. Just know that when these things get some water in them, they become really heavy and clunky. So really, I just don't have anything good to say about them at all. Which is why I was so shocked and felt compelled to make a video about it when I saw other people saying like, oh, the grip's great, they're super comfortable. No, they're not. Not for me. And I have a very average sized foot. It's slightly wide, though they do market these as a wide toe box, so that should cover that anyway. I have no idea how other people like them, but I sure don't, as is abundantly clear at this point. So, bye.